talk to me about your news for the future of a thing that we both love.
Okay, look, I knew yours would be good. I have faith in what they're doing over there. So I want to jump into the Amazon Lord of the Rings of Power, which really, come on, that's kind of a weak name.
Yep.
Well, it's not a Lord of the Rings name. You know, if look, somebody comes up and goes, "Hey, have you seen Rings of Power?" It's I'm expecting something like Shang Chi or something.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I realize it's the 20 Rings. That would probably been a better name. Anyway, so there's a lot of flack about it, and I haven't posted or really said anything about it, but I really think Amazon picked the wrong fandom this time.
Yeah.
Because there's just so much that's described and laid out in this world. And I've also seen the arguments kind of twisted a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to try to give where I'm coming from on this, and hopefully you'll understand. I'm going to start out with Galadriel
Yeah.
because she is like one of my favorite heroines of all time. Look, the scene with Kate Blanchett, the
Mhm.
mirror scene,
Yep.
that is one of the most powerful, sexy scenes in film ever
Hmm.
filmed. And it's woman, it is feminine,
Yeah.
it is female.
Yeah. It's very good.
And it's the power of that, and that's what Galadriel is, right?
Hmm.
That's where her power comes in. She is a powerful power. She doesn't wear armor.
Yeah. She doesn't need it.
She doesn't. No, and it's from the first image. And look, it goes on because these are going to sound minor at first, but it goes on, and Amazon's really doing a disservice. Um, that's not no offense to the actress playing it, but that's for the moment seeing her in that armor.
Hmm.
That's not Galadriel.
Right.
No, and her story coming across and traveling. There's more why you won't get the true story of Galadriel. I'll get into that in a minute because anyway. So that's first. Now I've seen a lot of people complain from one defending the movie, saying the people are upset about a black dwarf, and
Right.
I don't think that's true. I have no problem with, or I don't
Yeah. Why
have
would
any
you?
trouble with a black dwarf. Well, you got to remember what Tolkien spoke about is in the east of Middle Earth.
Right.
What happened in the west? And there's four tribes over there,
Hmm.
right? Four tribes of dwarfs. You got that we don't know anything about.
Right.
We've got the Blacklocks, which guess what color their beards and everything was, right?
Right.
We're going to take from that the stiff beards, the broadside. I think there's one other, but there's four over there.
Right.
You know, they could.
Sure. Why not?
Yeah.
There's two more wizards too. Why
Yeah,
not?
yeah. There's two more wizards that we don't have.
Yeah.
You can make the story of, and so my problem is not that there's a black dwarf. My problem
Right.
is one, she doesn't have a beard. Two, you're
Yeah.
telling me this is this,
Yeah.
right? And she is the daughter of Thrain. Well, that's a little bit different,
My
you
main
know.
issue is just that it's the you want to take named characters and put them in these situations that I don't necessarily think they would be in,
Yeah.
doing things that I don't necessarily think they would do. It's the same thing that I have with Expanse, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
but that's not him. What do you mean?
Well, they keep, and this keeps getting hammered home. And look, I've seen people to try to defend it. Well, look, we accepted it with The Hobbit. No, we didn't.
No,
No,
that
no
movie's
Lord of the
terrible.
Rings fans.
That
Lord of the
series
Rings
of movies,
fans likes The Hobbit.
right?
You know, and look, hardcore Tolkien book fans tolerate the movies.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah,
they do. I love the
I
movies.
do too. I adore the
Um,
movies.
the Ring movies, the Lord of the Ring movies.
I
But
think
yeah,
they're a good example of deviating from the books, but still telling a really good story
yeah.
without ruining the characters.
I don't think any character got completely changed out in that. And it now the elf being a black guy. One, that's not the main. He looks honestly, he looks like a Vulcan.
Sure.
He does the way they he's very clean cut.
Hmm.
I don't know how to describe it. I think he looks like a perfect Vulcan.
Right.
But then again, see with elves we get a description. They're from very pale to olive.
Hmm.
a deep olive greenish skin. We get an idea. We haven't a set thing for them.
Right.
And you going to and here's the thing, I want this to be great. I want stories from the second age. I want this to
Yeah.
to work and be perfect. And turns out that they don't have rights to the Similarian or Unfinished Tales
Yep.
or anything that deals with the second age.
Yep.
And that's really a bummer because there's a line that Tolkien wrote about the second age that I think would make for some amazing, amazing scenes. And if you don't know, during the second age, when everybody was standing against Sauron during that time, um, he said that every living thing was divided except the elves.
Right.
That means you would have, obviously humans fighting humans, dwarves
Right.
fighting dwarves. You would have trolls fighting trolls, orcs fighting orcs,
Right.
wargs fighting wargs. You know, everything was divided. And there's just so many stories that coming out of that. But it turns out they don't have the rights to any of that.
Right.
So you have the rights to The Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, and the appendices. That's it. And you're going off a few things in the appendices. Look, if somebody else did the prequels for Star Wars based just off the few lines of what Obi-Wan Kenobi said, you'd
Right.
kind of be, it probably wouldn't make much sense.
Right.
Or the Clone Wars, we have one line. Now you do have a little bit more stuff than that.
Right.
Okay, so you telling me that you have the rights you could have redone the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
You could have done us all a favor and made a great Hobbit
Oh yeah.
and done the Hobbit some justice. You have the rights to that.
Hmm.
You know, they and then turns out that they're like, well, we're writing stories that Tolkien we're writing the stories and novels that Tolkien didn't. We're writing
Yeah.
in this. And if you will take an honest look going through the fans, this is not white people,
Right.
complaining about this. This is fans of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. If you tell me you have a diversity quota, make the story work for it.
I agree.
Okay, you don't have to do this to establish this is English Norse
Yeah.
mythology, right? I'm sorry. If you do Romance of the Three Kingdoms, I don't
Yeah.
want to see white people.
I
If
agree.
you do a story
100%.
about if you do a story about Shango,
Yeah.
the African god of lightning, I
Right.
don't want to see white people.
I agree.
I want to see a big rocking dude with two double-headed axes. That's the
Right.
god of lightning.
Yeah.
No white. Look, you can come to me and say, look, I don't think stories of minorities are being, and I will agree with you.
Right. 100%.
And look, and if you want to do that, Danny Glover has been trying to get a story of the Haitian Revolution done for 40 years.
Yeah.
40 years. And look,
Yeah.
there'll be white people at the beginning of that movie. There won't be any at the end of
No,
it.
not by the end. Not by the end.
There won't be any white people at the end of it. I want that movie made. I want Danny
Yeah.
Glover to do it.
I agree.
There's so many stories. Look. I tell you what, just in case anybody from Amazon sees this and you really want to do something to promote minority stories, let's say for black people, do Shango. I tell you what, there's a book called African Mythology A to Z by Patricia Ann Lynch.
Yeah.
Start there. There are some amazing, amazing folk.
Where is Static Shock?
Wait, the stories are there. Use them. Dude, I don't want to see Egyptian. If you're telling me the story about the Nilantic people,
Yeah.
I don't want to see Egyptians.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's so many wonderful. If you take any country, any piece of land, and study it, study the
Yes.
past 500 years of it, you're going to
Incredible
see
cultures.
in stories of beauty. You're going to see evil, the most evil you could possibly imagine.
Yeah.
You'll see all the whole range, and their stories there.
Yes.
And I don't care what the color of their skin is.
Right.
What I care about is it a good story.
Yes, I agree 100%. And that's where I take the most umbrage here is we're writing what Tolkien didn't. Well, you're saying that your writers are as good at writing in this world that Tolkien made as he is. I would take umbrage with this the same way. I'm not a big fan of I completely just forgot her name. That's how much I'm not a big fan of her. J.K. Rowling, right? But if somebody
Okay.
said, "Hey, I'm going to write the book that Rowling never could," like, well, she made that world. I may not like a lot of her views, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that you're going to write a better book in her world than she did. You could write a different book in her world. You could write a different book in Tolkien's. You could write a different book in anybody's world,
That's what
and
I'm
maybe
saying.
it'll be great.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's going to be what they were making. You know?
Yeah. And the fact is, there's stories out there, and I feel bad for because I cannot remember these authors' names that could have used this whole setup.
Yeah.
And you know what? In their stories, there's black elves, and nobody has a problem with it.
Yeah.
Because it's not Middle Earth. They've made
Right.
their own world, and
Well, and
in
The
this
Witcher,
world,
The Witcher has that. You know?
yeah, exactly.
It's
They
fine.
went- if they'd have said, "Hey, we were really inspired by Tolkien, but this isn't Middle Earth.
Right.
This is Underdawn.
Right. Sure.
Hey, let's roll."
Yeah.
You know?
You give me a new fantasy thing on television, I'm there. It
Yeah.
takes no convincing to get me into a new fantasy show.
Yeah. They're just, and I realize that I'm a little different, and I'm going to go look, and I love stories from my culture and other cultures,
Right.
because there's a little bit of truth in there, and a lot of it crosses over in really
Yeah, it
interesting
does.
ways.
It does.
And yes, I
We're all
do believe
people.
those stories need to be told.
You know, we're all people. We make yeah, we're an old fantasy show like Stargate. Yeah. We're all people. You know, we all at the end of the day, we may have a bunch of different histories, but we all come back to the same like beginnings of culture. It all leads
Yeah.
to the same thing. So the ideas that we all
Yeah.
have all come from the same places. So why I don't know. I can
don't
just
know.
keep going, you know?
I can too, because like I was talking about, if you study the story, I said like Shango, which is
Hmm.
from kind of Western Africa, Sub-Sahara,
Yeah.
Western Africa. You know, they deal with, just like they do in many ancient mythology and religions, they deal
Right.
with jealousy, they deal with human emotions, and through that they tell a story and how you're supposed to act, you know,
Yeah.
and lessons learned. These are important stories.
And just
Yeah.
to clarify, if you know our problem, we've made our problems with this very, very obvious. But if this is not just against Amazon, like anybody that does this kind of thing. And if you're going, well, I'm not going to watch the show because there's a black dwarf. Well, why?
No,
Why are you like
No.
this? Why?
yeah, that's absolutely
dumb.
ridiculous.
What?
No. You've my right now my biggest fan, because I'm huge. Like I said, I am a huge fan of Galadriel.
Right.
I am a huge fan of Kate Blanchett, because like I said, but that scene is just amazing to me. And look, I realize that if I stepped into to her realm,
Right.
that every elf on that edge would get a vision of Galadriel in his head going, "Just shoot him.
Yeah, for sure.
Empty your quiver. Don't
Take him
retrieve
down.
those. Do not retrieve those arrows. Have two elves take him out, burn the body, and then those two elves are exiled." Okay,
Yeah, they can never come home again.
but like I said, there's such a power. And stop, please. I have so many feminine heroes, female heroines that I
Yeah.
grew up with. Galadriel being one, right? Ripley,
Yeah.
played by the wonderful Sigourney Weaver.
Yes.
Weaver, you know, she's 6'1". She's an Amazon. She's a goddess.
Great.
You know, I have all these great female heroes that embraced, that were female. They were feminine, you know, and just like males, there's strengths and weaknesses in that.
That's right.
And the story is, how do you cut the best stories are, hey, they're working through their weaknesses,
Yes.
you know, and their strengths are helping them overcome. Like I said, it's just, it feels so lazy and shoehorned. And then you fire the world. You have at your disposal the world's preeminent Tolkien scholar,
Right.
and then you fire him because, you know, he said, well, that, you know, probably because he wants to stick to the lore.
Right.
So
Unfortunately, they don't have Christopher Lee standing over there saying, that's not how it was written.
yeah, and like I said, I want this to work. I want this to be great, absolutely great. Yeah, Christopher Lee. That's not the sound a man makes when he's stabbed in the back. Well, you know what? We'll do it your way then,
Yeah.
sir.
Go for it.
Your way. That sounds good. And roll.
Yep. Oh. Well,
Yeah, it's just
I think
sad.
we've hit basically said all we can say without just reiterating it.
Yeah,
But-
I'll keep ranting from this point. And like, yeah, if y'all want to do something, support Danny Glover getting that movie made. I think
Yeah.
that would be an amazing film.